So the point of showing this highly abused wild lettuce plant is to show that you can literally strip every single leaf off this thing and cut the top off, slice into it. This has been harvested over and over again. You can see all the slits from cutting the tree to get the latex out, and it'll resprout. I normally do not take all the leaves off. I had a problem with powdery mildew. This is the only example of this variety that I have. It just popped up last year. It was a beautiful plant. I'll put a picture of it at the end of the video. So I started to pull the large leaves off the base and sprayed it with neem oil, and the powdery mildew persisted, so I ended up stripping the whole tree when it was in flower, washed the whole stalk down with vinegar and water, and went ahead and harvested. To my surprise, it started flowering again almost immediately. The flowers open up in the morning, they close during the day. So if I want seeds to save, I pick those flowers when they are blooming and not when they're closed. I wanted to use this opportunity to show something else. The leaves on this plant, when I stripped them, they often took large pieces of bark with them. Like right here, you can see that a bunch of, I don't know if it's bark, it's not bark, but the outer layer was stripped off completely, and where I broke it on the top because this was too hard to cut with my knife, all of this came off. As I said in another video, the latex is right underneath the surface of this green layer. My hands are kind of filthy from digging in the dirt, excuse me. So it's not flowing great because it's morning right now, and it just doesn't do that very well in the morning. But if I come over here and I slice through the brown part, which is really hard to do with one hand, nothing's going to happen. You're going to see it a little bit here because there's still a little bit of green there. But if I go like right here, it's going to come out of the slits that are in the green part, but the latex doesn't go this deep, so it's not going to come out from there. We'll try it right here. So you can see it's coming out from the green layer, but there's too much of that that's been removed. So this stuff is right under the surface, and if you cut too hard on a really thin plant, you can cut all the way through it, and that's absolutely not necessary to get the latex out. So I'm pretty much done with this plant. I'm going to let it flower. I have been saving a few of the seeds. The way that I do it is I don't take all the flowers at once. I take them as they're in bloom, and I always leave a couple at the top so that I can tell when it's gone to seed and it's not making as vigorous or as strong lactucarium, because when they're in flower, or just as they begin to flower and then are in flower, they're the strongest. So once it's completely done, at that point I will top all of the flowers off and then wait for it to bloom again so that I can harvest it again. Clearly I have to get better at doing this and making sure that my camera's in focus. I wanted to do this one more time because I know that it was pretty blurry. So if I cut here, go all the way across, you can see that the lactucarium's coming out over here where it's still green, and over here where it's still green, and not anywhere here. And this layer right here, this green layer, is, you know, maybe 1.5 millimeters thick, and that's it. So you don't want to strip it off if you're going to harvest the plants this way. And I should have cut the leaves off instead of tearing them, because they just continued to take more of that green layer. So hopefully that is a better illustration.